welcome back to another episode of the Accommodation Show. Really exciting episode this one for you because we'll be talking about ways to save money on setting up a short-term rental. This episode is super relevant to anyone looking to save money on expenses right now when we're thinking about setting things up, but also on ongoing costs on amenities. I talked to Jeff from HostGPO. He's an absolute legend, someone that I met over in Miami at the bookdirect show, and he's also at VRMA. He knows an awful lot about group buying and the power of purchasing together. I recommend that you watch this whole episode because you're going to get so many different tips and tricks to use within your business, regardless of whether you join HostGPO or whether you decide to do things on your own. But it's an action-packed episode, lots of useful stuff in there. Do enjoy it. And make sure you give us a like and a subscribe if you like what we're doing. Appreciate it. Okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Accommodation Show. I am so excited today because we've got Jeff Iloulian from HostGPO who's joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you here. I've been looking forward to doing this episode because today we're going to be talking about how to maximize revenue through reducing costs. Or, if we put it another way, is if we reduce costs, then we can increase our revenue. It's an awesome topic. It's something that's very, very important for short-term rental owners, but also if you're in the hotel space, if you're in accommodation in general, all of these things will apply to you. But before we go into it, Jeff, I'd love you to introduce yourself. Let us know about your business and how you got into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So HostGPO is my business. We are a GPO, so Group Purchasing Organization is what that stands for. A GPO for the vacation rental industry. So it's somewhere that you can go to source mattresses, furniture, linens, amenities, services, everything you need for your vacation rental unit. And we've negotiated discounted pricing and kind of put it all in one stop shop, one place for you to be able to see a curated selection of kind of big name brands, as well as like strategic products for this space. So that's what HostGPO does. And my background, I've been in the vacation rental industry for about 7 or 8 years, maybe more now. And I was a property management manager, as well as a lease arbitrage guy. So I had about 150 properties, mostly based out here in Southern California, which is where I'm from. And before that, I was practicing as an attorney. And as I'm sure a lot of people who are listening now know, you kind of dip your toe in this business and start with one property, and all of a sudden that becomes 10 and 100, and all of a sudden you're starting a business to help other people with their vacation rental companies.
Yeah. And are you still managing at the moment, or is that being sold?
Yeah, I still have a handful of units that I have that are my own that I have that I run as rentals, but the majority of that portfolio is no longer under my operation.
Yeah. And then so you were one of the first or one of the major GPOs out there, is that right?
Yeah, so we were the first ones to do it, and kind of the only ones that do it the way that we do. We've been around for 2.5 years, and we have over 200,000 vacation rental properties that have signed up for HostGPO.
Wow, that's impressive. And I guess that in terms of scale, where you were talking that you were working on your 150 or whatever, now with the 200,000, it's a completely different ball game. Let's jump into it. Let's
Sure.
talk about reducing costs and what that actually means. Tell me a bit more about sort of your thinking around it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think at the end of the day, costs and expenses really break down into two key areas. There's the straight financial costs, there's the actual price of things, and there's the time. And a lot of people, especially in this industry, who are hustlers, who really are willing to do whatever it takes to get things off the ground, don't value their time as much as they probably should. And as you start to scale and get to 5 and 10 and 50 units, you really start realizing that time is a huge component of costs as well. Every minute you're out there spending, cleaning your own unit, you could be finding another one. Or you could be figuring out how to, do your business better, price better, use better pieces of software, use better pieces of technology, etc. So reducing expenses really boils down to, one, how to actually reduce the hard dollar costs, and two, how to save yourself a bunch of time. And it's super important because people look at profitability and look at how to make profits in a business, and you're constantly focused on revenue generating. How can I get my occupancy percentages up to 110%? That's how do I get more people in there than days with cancellation or whatever you're thinking about. But ultimately, profitability is a two-sided equation that also takes how much revenue you're bringing in and really deducts the cost out of it as well. So expenses and reducing expenses and saving time is really a huge part of what HostGPO is here to do and how we try to help people.
Yeah. Also, I love that, and I actually wasn't expecting you to start talking about time, which is something that's becoming more important as businesses scale, and understanding what the value is of that time. What is it worth per hour to do a particular task, and what is our time actually worth? Do you have any ways of calculating that?
Yeah, I mean, there's anecdotal ways that I like always talking about and sharing. When you really start thinking about things like setting up multiple units at a time, or scalability of certain solutions, you can back it out to, one, the things that I've experienced and the ways that I've wasted my time and felt it, but also, I guess maybe being a lawyer before, I was really used to like billing by the minute, per hour, per minute. And so you really start thinking about, time is the most valuable thing that we have. And, how do you, save time, and the best way to do that is to increase your profitability, save money, and make sure that you're using solutions that help you automate and save time.
Yeah. Being a business owner, one of the things that we do is we actually look at how much revenue the business is bringing in. And then I go, well, what's my profit on that? And then based on my profit or the revenue that we actually bring in, then I actually divide that up by the number of hours that I'm working. And I'm going, well, my time is worth roughly X to do something, right? So is it $100 an hour, $200, or $300 an hour, or whatever the number tends to be? And as you grow and you're making more revenue, then that time becomes more and more expensive to be using it, not to do revenue generating activities, or to be growing the business or working on strategy and everything else. So that's one way that I know some people are actually figuring out the math of what that time is worth. And I think it's important to try to put some sort of a number around what your time is worth, right? Is it $50 or is it $500 an hour? And like I said, as you grow, that number becomes bigger and bigger. So when you're smaller and you're sort of hustling and you've got 2 or 3 properties, then it doesn't matter so much. But as you've gone to a much bigger stage, you need to be cognizant of how much it's worth. And then at what point, what that crossover point of going, you know what, I should just outsource this.
Exactly. I mean, I think you put the nail right on the head, in terms of take your total amount of profit or revenue that you're generating with your time, divide that by how many hours you're putting towards each individual task. But what that really doesn't account for, and what I really like to think of a lot, is the opportunity cost. So, that's not really factored into that equation. And the amount of time that you spend doing stuff like building furniture is a really interesting way to think about, if you spent that time looking for another property, or you spent that time actually focusing on, the guest experience or something like that, rather than in the same way, things seem very logical right out of the gate. You might not want to be cleaning your listings right, after the first couple, or you might not want to be, building your furniture. That stuff tends to make more sense to people right out of the gate, but really starts to increase over time when you start thinking about, well, how am I even identifying and finding this furniture? How much time are you spending sourcing on Amazon and looking through 50 different types of sheets before you even figure out if the sheet that you got is the right one? Or some of the hidden costs, time costs, are things that we really focus on too. So, for example, if you buy a piece of furniture that breaks, how much time does it take to replace it? Forget about the cost. The blocking off the listing for a day, getting in there, moving it in, moving it out, organizing all that stuff, right? So setting things up the right way up front can really save you in the long run as well. So we really like to think about the cost and value of what we're providing in terms of saving time there as well.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. And I absolutely agree. It's kind of one of those ones where, you can buy quality over quantity. And sure, you can get a mop and buy 10 mops, or you can buy the one mop, which will last you a lifetime. that kind of stuff. So let's go to the other part of it. So we talked a bit about time. So that's one thing that we're going to look at as business owners and go, okay, what is my time actually worth and what tasks am I doing? And is there an opportunity cost which is involved as well? But then the other part of it is you were saying cost. So the actual cost, so that the money that you're paying for things.
Yeah, and I always talk about, there's this great Mark Cuban quote out there where he's talking about, if somebody came up to you and said, I really want to turn my life around, I really want to start, saving money and or get out of this hole that I'm in, or whatever it is, what would you tell that person right away? And the first two things that he always mentions are, one, pay off all your credit card debt, because obviously credit card debt is like the most expensive thing ever. So pay it off immediately and use all of your funds towards that because it's an insane interest rate. But then the second thing is he talks about purchasing, and he says, don't buy the tiny little travel size, toothpaste, or the one thing of toothpaste. Buy the 4-pack, buy the 8-pack of toothpaste. And so when you start thinking about things like that, you're going to use another, hopefully, use another toothpaste at some point. And when you buy that single use, you're actually paying such a premium to get just one of those items. So thinking about how you can strategically, purchase from like linen wholesale companies and hospitality linen companies, rather than buying, the normal retail goods that you would for your business, is a great way to save on actual costs. That, combined with just the general principle of HostGPO, with over 200,000 units, we've negotiated the guaranteed best discounts with brands like West Elm, Article Furniture, CB2, Rugs USA, Standard Textile, Brooklyn, and Public, right? We've already done the heavy work so that even if you had 20 units or 50 units or 100 units and you tried to reach out to one of those brands to negotiate, nobody will ever get a better price than HostGPO. And we've aggregated all that power to save everybody the time from hunting it down and trying to negotiate those discounts. So, we're really offering 30, 50, 70% off a lot of these brands just by virtue of becoming a HostGPO member.
So tell me a bit about the mechanics of, that group buying. And I used to actually work in procurement for a couple of years, and I understand why procurement exists, but there'll be some people that aren't familiar with what procurement actually is and what it means and why it's important. Maybe start off with, let's break down procurement for people and where it fits into short-term rentals. I guess a lot of hotels have got already some resources they can tap into for this sort of thing. But even if you're running a boutique hotel, you also need to procure stuff. Can you, I'm sure that through what you're doing, how procurement works and why it's important. Can you break that down for people so they can sort of realign the need for having a procurement strategy, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the first thing to talk about there is, HostGPO, we're a GPO for the vacation rental industry, but there are GPOs for other industries. There's GPOs in the restaurant world, in the pharmaceutical industries, in, you name it, there are specific GPOs for those businesses. And what a GPO does is help you with your procurement by providing a platform or a solution to help you with your buying needs, so you don't have to start from square one. So where does procurement fit into your business? Well, every time you set up a new vacation rental, or every time you purchase or repurchase supplies or amenities, whether that's replacing linens, replacing shampoos, replacing paper goods, etc., all of those are procurement. They're all buying for the unit. And it fits in really a lot up front when you're setting up a new home, but also on an ongoing basis with things like services. For example, if you're getting pest control for your property, right? We'll partner with somebody like Terminix so you get discounted pest control, or hardware, like we partner with Ace Hardware. So if you need to replace your air filters ongoing, you're buying stuff for your unit. And that is where you would go to a GPO, like HostGPO, that's already negotiated the discounted prices for you, so that you can purchase at a lower cost and in a more streamlined way.
Okay, so let's break that down even further for people, because for some people, I think it's going to be like, okay, cool, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. So I'm getting a discount. Discount sounds great, but the only thing that I think that we haven't covered yet is the mechanics of Why does that discount happen? And how does one of these procurement contracts works? Like when you approach an organization, why are they interested in talking to you? And how does that procurement funnel actually work? And I think for those that don't know, this could be quite interesting.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. So let's go into the mechanics of how these negotiations work, because they're very fascinating. So the main purpose of a GPO is to take the aggregated buying power of the group. So that means if you or I go and talk to a mattress company and say, hey, look, we want to get mattresses at a discount. We're two people buying mattresses. Maybe we'll get a 2-for-1 or some sort of, additional price break. Now, if somebody like one of the largest vacation rental companies, which maybe has 5,000 or 10,000 units, would go and talk, there's a certain threshold that they could get to. When we go as a group with all of our negotiating power pooled together and we go to these brands and say, hey, look, this is going to be the mattress company that we want to buy from, we're able to unlock a significant amount of additional discounts because that company is really excited about, one, getting into the space, two, from their mechanics and perspective, they're not spending as much money on marketing to reach people as they might otherwise, because all of a sudden we're funneling people towards one location. And towards one brand or a handful of kind of curated brands. And, from their perspective, the third key part is volume. We're bringing so much volume that the amount of margin that they might need to make as a business can be lower, because on the aggregate, our company, our GPO, our group is purchasing so much that we can share the savings across the board. So, you might be familiar with normal interior design, trade discounts, or, a lot of trade associations will have like their own kind of groups, or their own, discounts for different brands. Host GPO is well above any kind of standard trade discount. So one thing that's really unique about what we do is nothing that's on Host GPO's website is the same deal that you could just get by being an interior designer or get by reaching out to a brand. Or, sometimes when you go to a brand's website, they say like, enter your email address in and you'll get 10% off your first order, 15% off your first order. Host GPO's deals, because we're negotiating on behalf of that entire aggregate group, are significantly above that. So we only put deals on our website that really do offer those kinds of next level savings.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's kind of it becomes a bit of a no-brainer in terms of joining that kind of a group or that kind of an organization with the buying power that can achieve so much. But I think it's really important for people to, like, if you've never heard of what procurement actually is, like, Google it. Google what procurement is. And it took me such a long time to sort of wrap my head around what it actually means. And what generally happens is within large organizations, you'll have people buying the same stuff, but from different suppliers. So it'll be the same toilet paper, or they buy toilet paper from all over the place, and then you've got lots of different divisions doing exactly the same purchasing, but rather than they do it all individually on their credit cards. But if you get everybody together and you go to one supplier and say, hey, we need toilet paper for 1,000 people, or 1,000 offices or whatever, then it completely changes it. And you've done exactly that, but rather than being one organization, you've brought all the vacation rental owners under one umbrella and said, hey, we're going to buy as a group, and as a group, what is the best deal that you can offer us on mattresses, linens, and on that sort of thing. In terms of the service, actually, I'll let you.
Yeah, no, I wanted to just add really quickly there. You're 100% right, but the one thing that I really, really wanted to point out is that there's also the benefit of the small things, right? A GPO or a procurement service will also not just negotiate the price, but they'll negotiate things like, for us, I'll talk about Host GPO, limits on price increases overall. So, the amount of times that if the price of cotton goes up in a year, the amount of times that we can get a price increase as a group on our sheets. Or, something like the ability to have free shipping to individual different locations, as opposed to having to pay for shipping, whereas another GPO might focus on how do we ship, a good example would be like a hotel GPO might say something like, okay, we need 7,000 rooms worth of linens shipped at one time to one location. That's very different than a vacation rental company that might need a bunch of different sets of sheets shipped to a bunch of different locations. And so for us to be able to negotiate those types of terms, free shipping on, limited or no quantities to go to different locations, or amount of price increases, those are the other things that a procurement service will be able to really do.
Gotcha. And so let's go back to our overarching theme of today, which is maximizing profits through savings on costs. We've got those sort of two main themes, which is one, saving your time, and the other one, which is saving on the costs overall. And I just want to kind of recap and go back to the time saving, because that's something now that we've sort of explained procurement a bit more and explained that we put a value to our time. Tell me more about the process of actually saving time in procurement.
Yeah, so I think that it breaks down into two main components. One is, how are you saving time on the HostGPO member portal? And also, how are you saving time in your business? So by using the portal, you're saving time by not having to go learn all the lessons the hard way on something like Sheets. Let's just start there. So if you're buying sheets off of like Amazon, or you're buying basic microfiber or anything like that, you start to learn very quickly, especially as you have 3 units, 5 units, 10 units, you learn really quickly that, you'll end up with an off-white cream, a pillowcase here, and a bright white pillowcase from another brand over here, etc., because you're not buying from somewhere that's consistent and has, the right amount of inventory always. Standard Textile is the largest hospitality linen company in the US, which is why we partner with them. And they always have inventory. They've had the same inventory for 80 years. And it's what the giant, hotel companies use, right? So you're saving time, immediately by not having to source through buying 10 different types and varieties of linens, read, research, try to figure out, on Facebook groups or wherever else you're looking, what the right types of linens are. You're immediately being guided towards a curated group of brands. And we're also here at HostGPO to help you. So you can ask us, hey, this is my type of unit. This is what I'm doing. What would you recommend? Can you get me samples, right? And we're trying to help you sift through all of the hundreds and thousands of brands that are out there and say, these are the right ones for vacation rental industry. And it's not like we're only saying, here's a handful of SKUs. I mean, we're partnering with major brands that have hundreds of thousands and millions of different SKUs, but those brands are quality. And so that's really like, from a time perspective in terms of shopping, you're not going to have analysis paralysis of hopping through and trying to read a million reviews to figure out what to buy. And then we do things like have unified shopping experiences, so you can purchase from multiple brands at the same time on our site or through our site. Or you can do things like, we build out solutions like Bedbox is a great example. If you were setting up a new vacation rental unit, we can help you save time by you logging into HostGPO saying, I am looking for a standard or a luxury or a mid-level, 4 beds and 2 bathrooms. The beds are queen, king, twin, or whatever. And go, and we will help you put together an assortment, a basket of bestsellers that you can edit. But that saves you all of the time of clicking through and figuring out mattress encasements, pillows, pillow inserts, duvets, comforters, etc. And we try to tell you the right amounts that you should get for that for your home. Again, just trying to save you time in that buying experience. The last way, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, I really want to jump in because one of the things that seems pretty obvious here is, how do I know that HostGPO is giving me the right advice? And I mean, it doesn't even have to be just you guys, but how do I know that you're not giving the right advice and you don't have a vested interest to advise in a certain direction?
Yeah, I mean, we are the best way to think about it is everybody at HostGPO, including myself, is a host and has been in this industry for a long time. So when you have your first kind of onboarding phone call, you're talking to somebody who either manages currently 5-10 units, or also has worked at companies that have managed hundreds of units, right? So you're able to kind of get that advice from the person that's right for you. You're also able to see by the entire group purchasing from these brands that what the best sellers are, how that's working, and then we pass on the savings to our members. And the way that that how we make our money is we charge a membership fee. It's kind of like a Costco or like an Amazon Prime or something like that, where you end up paying an annual membership fee so that we can pass on these costs and savings to you guys, right? We're really focused on growing a community. We're really focused on providing a curated group of brands for you. But these are brands that have been brought to us not only internally from our team, but also from our members who say things like, hey, we're really interested in this type of amenity. We're really interested in this, shampoo, etc. And that's how we kind of source our brands to begin with. So, you'll see when you join HostGPO, and it's free to join. We also try to make sure that, there's no like, hey, you pay a membership fee and then you figure out if you like it or not, right? It's free to join. And we want people to experience and look through the deals to understand how good they are, how much better they are than whatever else is out there. And, see, it's not like we're guiding you towards one brand. It's like if you come and say, hey, I'm a luxury property, we might say, hey, you should maybe look at this mattress. And if we're really setting up a basic cabin in the woods, we'll probably say, hey, this other mattress that we partner with is kind of that one. So we're more guiding you within the ecosystem that we've built, which has come mostly from our members recommending brands for us to partner with.
Yeah, gotcha. So then you've got the time thing of obviously sourcing everything. Then you've got the other side of the time equation of setting it all up and servicing it and all that. So I think we've covered all that. Was there anything else on time that you wanted to cover off?
Just the last part, the second piece was about how that saves time in your business. And so little things like Standard Textile, for example, providing some of their sheets come pre-laundered and towels come pre-laundered. So if you're setting up a new home and you're ordering a box of 24 towels or 48 towels or whatever it is, keep an inventory to put on the beds, just doing laundry on that alone is an insane amount of time. So there's little things like that, or like what we talked about at the beginning today, buying nice, not twice, right? Knowing what those hidden time costs are in your business down the road of, oh shoot, none of my linens match. Oh shoot, the top of this table is peeling off and now I need to get a new one. And I need to run to the store and buy a glue to put down to try to fix the table, and it's not going to look great, right? So saving time on your actual operations of your business by having these procedures in place and by buying the right products up front, that's something that we're really focused on helping people learn how to do early. Because everybody's out there talking about, SOPs and standard operating procedures, for your business. And we look at procurement as really one of those solutions. Just like you have a PMS system that's sending your automated messages, you should have a host GPO that you can go to be able to look at your order history when you need to reorder one item and see all the brands that you purchased from, which properties you bought for, etc., and be able to buy for that, right? So we're trying to save you the time in your business as well as during the purchasing.
Yeah, I love it. And so there's a lot of clients that I work with, and we talk about SOPs and how they fit into their business, and there are those different elements. And I think that procurement part is actually something that you can talk to property owners about and say, hey, we actually have a procurement division. We get discounts. We get all of this stuff, which we can then put into your property, and we're going to bring the property to a certain level. And so I think it's something that's quite powerful to actually bring into your pitch when you are trying to bring on new properties.
100%. And that's going to be good for you in the long run too, right? You want that owner to put better quality stuff in their home. Why? Because it's going to look better. And if it looks better, it's going to rent for a higher price. And it's going to break less. And if it breaks less, that means you have to run there less to fix it, and you're going to have less maintenance issues. Right? All of these things are really also engineered for, one, you to be able to get your owner to understand that you're a professional in the space and you know what's going on. But two, to be able to maximize your return later through your percentage that you're taking in terms of management if you're a manager, and also minimize the amount of time that you're going to have to spend running around and fixing, the issues as they come up.
Yeah,
you know how many times in my 150 homes I had low quality mattresses that I was buying, these all foam mattresses, and you have a guest that's staying for more than 3 nights and complains about the mattress, and so you have to run and get a mattress topper and run that over and put that on top. I mean, that's gas, that's time, that's your team, that's headache, that's hassle, that's messages, that's touch points, that's reviews, all of these things that if you do it right the first time, you reduce the possibility of those kinds of things happening.
Beautiful. And then the other part of the equation, obviously, is the cost. I think we've covered that off relatively well at this stage. I think that's pretty obvious in terms of the benefits of joining a GPO or thinking more proactively about your procurement strategy for your business and coming together. For those that don't have a GPO or that aren't US based, what is your best advice?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are HostGPO. We are in the US and Canada right now. We are actively looking internationally at a couple different places to expand to. I know we have a lot of members who have properties elsewhere that are begging us to go there as well. But if you are in a place where this doesn't, where there is no solution like this for you, I would really recommend, one, thinking about quantities that you're purchasing in. Make sure that you're not panic buying. Panic buying is the worst thing you can do. The last minute runs to the local store to buy the overpriced individual items that never matched, that are going to break, that aren't quality. That's not what you want to be doing. So one, eliminate panic buying. Two, really think about quantities, because that'll help you do that. And then three, I would keep in mind when you're doing your research about brands that not all reviews are kind of created equal. So just because something has 5 stars on a website, it might be great for your individual home or for somebody's individual home, but it's not going to be the best option, most likely, for a vacation rental where you're getting high wear and tear, high use, that kind of thing. So make sure you're looking for things like contract grade furniture or commercial grade linens, hospitality linens. These are the kinds of things that are engineered to be used in the way that you're using them.
Yeah, gotcha. Look, amazing. I really feel it's procurement isn't the sexiest thing. It really isn't. And I've been to many procurement conferences, and it's the parties aren't as wild as a short-term rental conference. Let's put it that way.
It's true,
but it's such a big opportunity for people to realign their thinking about ways to really scale their business and to work for a future better business where you're saving that time and that money. So, Jeff, thanks for opening people's eyes. I do encourage anyone that wants to join HostGPO. We'll have the links in the comments. If you are listening, make sure that you give us a like and subscribe. Give us your feedback on the episode. We really want to know what your thoughts are and whether this sort of content is useful to you. Jeff, is there any final thoughts?
No, I just, really thankful to be here and to talk with you and to talk about this. And, I think you're right. Procurement isn't the sexiest thing that's out there, but it really is rewarding, and it's been an incredible experience to be able to help people scale their businesses and grow their businesses effectively. So really hope if you're listening and you're not a HostGPO member, that you sign up for the free trial. It's full access. Give it a shot and join our group, join our community. The bigger we get as a group, the better our deals and the better we're able to go and negotiate on behalf of the rest of our community. So really looking forward to having you join if you're not a member already, and to all of our members who are listening, thank you for being a part of our group.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And we'll talk again soon, I hope.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Take care.
All right.